What's up, guys? We're back with another Mythic Legions Reinforcements review, taking a look at one of the new figures this time around. We're taking a look at the Vampire Phalanx, which I just really like that name. I really like the name of this particular figure, and I'm excited to see that we're getting this particular head sooner rather than later. So we, of course, already got that head with the Operative 83 figure, but this is what it was originally intended for, I believe. So we've got our vampire here in our normal Mythic Legion style packaging. Figure in the window, you've got your Ilithia faction card on one spine, you've got a bio on the other, and then the back of our box gives us the new cross-sell as well as that new artwork that showcases a bunch of ogres in the distance. So yeah, let's do it. Let's pull them out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our Mythic Legions Reinforcements to Vampire Phalanx. So this is another one of those new figures that creates a new Legion builder out of an overwhelming mix of existing parts. But we are getting this head sculpt, which is existing already, but I believe it was originally intended for something like this, because it's quite obvious that this was always meant to be a vampire head sculpt. So we're getting a new Vampire 1.0 style Legion builder. It's also, if you want to go this route, a way to get a different Black Knight style Legion builder. And this type of character, a Vampire Phalanx member, ties into the story behind the upcoming Vorgus Vermilius 2 from LegionsCon. So there's a lot of stuff just going on with this guy. I was pretty excited when I saw that there was a vampire on the back of that Gold Knight box, because I knew right then and there what they were doing with this in terms of this head sculpt, and that it was going to be a 1.0 figure. So pretty cool. Now, let's see what this guy can do, see how he moves around. It's a 1.0 figure, so you know what's going to happen, but let's run through it. So we've got a head that can look up. He can't really go down because he's got a long face. You've got tilt side to side a little bit. You've got rotation. These will come out. You know, you can move them, you can reorient them, whatever you want to do. Arms go out. You swivel. We've got our single jointed swiveling elbow. You've got gauntlet swivel. You've got wrist and hinge and rotation there. Backwards at the waist. Single buck torso. A little bit forward. Tilt side to side some, you got your rotation there. Legs all the way out, they kick forward, they kick backward. We've of course got a thigh cut, there we go. Single jointed swiveling knee. And then as usual, we've got swivel at the top of the ankle, you've got rocker, and you've got hinges down there. So this is an overwhelming mix of old 1.0 parts. Like there's a lot of classic knight pieces here, the arms and the legs specifically. We've got a little bit of a newer torso, but overwhelmingly still very par for the course when you come to move anything 1.0 style with Legions at this point. You basically know what to expect. Now, when it comes to the overall look and feel on this guy this is one of those where there isn't a lot to talk about, because he is 100% black from head to toe with this super glossy finish. So at face value, okay, it's a knight, he's black, there we go, he looks cool. But this is two different kinds of figures depending on what you want to do with him. So he's either this configuration, or when we talk about accessories, he is a new Black Knight. And you will have the opportunity to make a different version of a Black Knight figure if you maybe just want some variation on your shelf, or if you don't have that older one. Because this is not the same mix of parts, which I thought was a pretty smart idea. It's no reason to reissue the exact same thing again with just a different head sculpt. There's a lot of new torsos and stuff out there right now. Overwhelmingly, this is a pretty similar figure to the original Black Knight. The arms are, our standard knight arms, standard knight legs, that kind of stuff. But we've got a newer style belt on him here, which I really like in this glossy black. I like all of this stuff in the glossy black. When you hit him with some super bright lights, he just sort of shines. And it just looks cool to me. I like that contrast with the dark color, but with that super gloss to it. And then we do have one of the newer torsos. This came out of the Ilithia wave, I want to say. Dubon has this torso, I believe, is the one I'm thinking of offhand. So you've got some newer parts here in a different colorway, which is always nice. But it's that same familiar sculpt, same familiar paint applications. Now he doesn't have any super detail paintwork on this figure because it's a Legion builder. So of course, you're just going to get this basically one solid black color with this super high gloss finish, which I do really like. But it's all about this head sculpt for this figure, outside of the fact that we do have a few newer-ish parts on this guy as well, just in a different color. And we've seen this head sculpt, but I do believe this is what he was originally intended for. Just, the release of things, stuff gets shuffled around from time to time. when I got Operative 83 in hand, it was obvious that wasn't just a space monster. It was clearly a vampire head sculpt that had been repurposed in the coolest way to make that variation. But I do really like this head sculpt in vampire form. So the helmet looks great in the black. I really like these new horns, if that's even what you can call them. I'm not sure what they are. They're not horns, but they're whatever they are. Doodads that hang off the head. They're different. And that's probably my main interest in this, is that those things are different. So they add an entirely new profile and look to the head sculpt. But then you've got that sunken white and sort of pale flesh for the face in there. You've got just the highlights of, like slightly red pink around the nose and the mouth and the eyes. No pupils on the eyes, always a way to get me interested. I'm a sucker for that, so I do like that here as well. But the paintwork in that face looks terrific. It's got a nice matte finish, which is very in contrast to the rest of the figure. So it does make him stand out quite a bit, because you've got this black void, but then there's this bright white face underneath. And it just looks cool. That's really what it comes down to. This is a take on another way to do a vampire figure with a different mix of parts that we haven't really seen before for vampires specifically. We've seen a lot of this kind of stuff in general with these parts, but seeing it used to make a 1.0 vampire has turned out really cool. Now, as far as accessories goes, this guy has a pretty decent spread. It's about everything you would expect to get, maybe with one little addition that I find to be just kind of a cool extra for this figure. So to start with, we do get an extra head sculpt, and as I mentioned, there's the whole aspect of being able to make this guy into a second Black Knight figure. So this is not the helmet that came with the original Black Knight. This is a Gorgo style helmet, which, I've said a number of times, is still my favorite helmet in the line. I love this thing so much, and it looks terrific in all black. It does make the figure out to be essentially just a black void, so your mileage may vary on whether or not that's actually cool or not. I'm pretty happy with it. So this looks great. The helmet doodads, as I'm going to call them right now, are again removable, so you'd pop them into this helmet or use some other stuff if you have other horns or whatever you want to use. You don't get two sets of those here. And then we get some pauldrons. These are some of the newer, smaller style pauldrons. They're not super old, but we've seen these before. So these again are done up in that jet black, with the high gloss on them to accentuate that black void aspect of this figure. And then we also get one of the newer style belts that we've been seeing. So that's kind of a cool little pack-in. It just seems like a bonus for this figure in particular. So you pop him apart and put it around his waist. You've got a slot on the back for sword storage. And then it's got this asymmetrical design with the belt that sort of hangs down around the leg, which I really like. It breaks him up too. If you don't want him to be just black, you can do that. And then we've got our weaponry. So we've got one of the long swords. I really like this one. I'm a big fan of this sword. It's not ultra common, but we've seen it many times. Everything's done up in this sort of purpley lavender color. We've got the trident, again in that same color. And then we get the standard circular shield with the rivets on it, handle on the back, all that good stuff. But it's nice to get stuff we already have, obviously, stuff we've seen before, but in a less common colorway. Purple is definitely a vampire thing, so it's good to see some of that kind of stuff. And then we also get the standard strap, but this strap is not the average, normal, common color. It's in line with this belt, so if you wanted to have a strap around his chest or something like that, you can break him up even further, and those two belts, those straps are consistent with each other. So in general, a lot of good stuff here, ways to change them up, and some accessories we've seen before, but in new colors. So yeah, overall, this is a really solid figure. Definitely one of my favorites in this reinforcements wave, and I'm not even like the biggest vampire guy. They're probably like middle of the road for me on any given day. I've got some favorites and maybe some stuff I'm not as excited about when it comes to vampires, but this one's really cool. A lot of it has to do with the fact it's a Legion builder in a 1.0 format for vampires. That does it for me right there. I really love this new head sculpt. We've already seen how versatile it can be across multiple figures, and I'm just happy to see it actually on a vampire this time. And then, of course, I love the alternate head sculpt, one of my favorite, if not my favorite heads in general in the line, period. I like the new helmet doodads, and I like the idea of having these jet black high gloss suits of armor. They look cool, and it's also nice to get some familiar accessories, but in a new color. So that's going to do it for this look at the Mythic Legion's Reinforcements 2 Vampire Phalanx. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.